and welcome once again to the podcast and the channel you cheer for, Soul Material. I'm your man, the OGEO,
T-Bar the Street Shark.
and we're here to give you some more sneaker business talk, more of that clarity over popularity, because that's what we do. We're going to dive right on in, given that the NFL draft is now upon us and gone. Thankfully, to my Commanders making the right pick, we're going to go into signature sneakers football style. But the Shark and I are from an era in which an athlete would be in a commercial, will be wearing that shoe, and it may not have been his signature shoe per se, but the streets called that shoe what it was. So if I say the Junior Seau's, you know what brand I'm talking about and what model. If I said the Emmett Smiths, you knew what brand and what model I was talking about. If I said the Rod Woodsons, the streets knew what you were talking about, the Bruce Smiths. So we're going to go into right now into some of the peak times of when brands were doing, particularly Nike, were doing the signature shoes for football. And if you're getting one for football, you had to be the man. Because unlike basketball, you show your face. Football, you got a helmet on, got your jersey. So what's going on with signature shoes, Shark? Because you got a few Jews for us that you're going to show and tell.
Oh yeah, and again, we talk about Barry Sanders. Did he have a signature shoe?
There you go.
But we didn't know what the Barry Sanders were, and then how many of the Zoom turfs there were. And that was the perfect shoe that translated because he was in a turf, the team that played on turf. So, and in the '90s, a lot of the turf teams were wearing basketball shoes anyway. So if you were in that model, it was a good transition, and the Zoom performed so well. So that was a shoe. I know that I saw a lot of Barry Sanders shoes on the basketball courts back in the day. So I'm actually just transitioning to the first signature shoe for, look at the box. Not too far. This early 2000. All right. 99 2000. We got Michael Vick. You can tell
Oh, my favorites. The
this the
Spider-Man
first
joints.
Vic, all right? It's the first Vic. I gotta wipe it down, all right? Because you know how some of the materials aged on a couple of these shoes, so it's this was more reflecting. It had the signature on the bottom right there. We had the M. This isn't we didn't even get to the Vic experience yet. That was what, the threes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm still at the ones. All right. So here we go. This is Madden era. You know what I'm saying? When he was on the cover, you know what I'm saying? Around this time, like I remember wearing these shoes while playing that game. You know what I'm saying? And of course, he was unstoppable at that time. So you got the Vic on the back. He loved the Air Forces. So and Vic wore a lot of the mids. So of course he liked the straps. All right. So now, what does the strap say? There you go. Be unexpected. All right. Be unexpected. All right. Mike Vick, number 7. All right. This shoe was so comfortable. If you had this shoe, great. This was so comfortable. You actually saw some NBA players. I remember Lamar Odom was rocking
Mm-hmm.
these, for the Miami Heat.
Yep.
This was a great shoe. And then you see how the heel was cut out right here. So it moves, it really flowed with you. So if you really cross trained in these and you really performed in these, like, yeah, you knew what you was doing and you got out a lot. So you can tell I wore these. All right, people, I wore them. All right, wear your kicks. And what do we got? That good old Zoom Air. We got the yellow Zoom Air. This wasn't meant to be visible, so that's why it's more. You could tell the age on these.
And if
But
I
again,
recall, Shark, those didn't retail for more than $110, I believe.
yeah, no, this was definitely not a high price. Y'all trying to see if I actually had a receipt. No, I don't have a receipt in this one. Oh wow, just hidden gems in the box because I just be making stuff for myself. I didn't even know this is a. Look at this. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. I
Oh,
got
the original.
I got the
First headband.
headband. I got the headband. Yeah, it's not homemade. That's real. Look at that. You know, we was rocking headbands at this time. I just remember like the cover, magazine color, like Mike was on Rides. Remember Rides, the magazine or whatever, and then he had before the dog, but he had his dogs and he had his shoes on that. I think he did that when it was around the 2 or 3s as well. But yeah, Mike Vick signature. The Vic ones. All right, Vic ones. Look at that. Looking like V7, V12. Look at the engine, like you about to
Uh,
take off on
definitely.
on Bama's. So yeah,
Speaking of
we
Madden,
love.
we had a rule in my house. If you picked Atlanta, nobody was playing against you. You were banned from using Atlanta during that year.
No, you couldn't. You couldn't stop him because once he just got outside the pocket and then he did a spin move or something on you, it was a wrap.
That was
It was,
it.
here, let me go. Keep going.
Yeah, so with those and the white ones, I remember they may have retailed for maybe 109.99 if I recall, but I remember selling like hotcakes, man, and just they looked good. And I know people are going to kill me, especially youngins. They look good with denim. They look good with shorts. They look good with khakis. And like you said, they were just cross functional all the way across. So I remember seeing some guys on campus at VCU playing soccer in them joints. Like it just what it was. And again, us being in the DMV at that time and him just being as high as he was, it was just a celebratory time. And they did a good job on that design. The advertising was great. And again, the price point was on point with those. So I definitely remember the first Vicks. Shout out to Vic.
Oh yeah. So let's move on to another signature athlete. All right, from Nike. This and call back to our sneaker collaborations and license collaborations. All right, because this was the perfect right time, right moment. We have the Nike CJ81 Trainer Max, Calvin Johnson, aka Megatron.
Megatron, the
All
man.
right. So now we have the Megatron. We got the purple and red. We got the Decepticons, the real logo. Okay. The logo. This, wow. This collaboration was awesome. I'm just trying to get you the strap. So look at the details on the tongue. You got there's another Decepticon logo right there with the um, lace lock on top. This was a strap over. These were extremely comfortable. I had like almost every color of this shoe. All right, there's only one I have left because I kind of wore them and kept selling them. But I wish I kept at least one or two more. They had the Volt colorways. They had, he was a baseball fan too, so we had the baseball. I had some of the low top ones because he liked bowling as well. So they did great storytelling with Calvin Johnson. And then you can actually see on the inside as well Megatron and the Decepticon logo. So I just love how they executed the campaign. There was apparel that went along with this. This particular release, I don't have it near me, but it's in my toy collection, where it actually came with another mini box and had
Mm-hmm.
the Decepticon logo wrapped around it. And it was actually a football that
Yep.
transformed into the robot as well. So they went all the way in on this collaboration, and I love it. Two of my favorite things. Two favorite things that the Shark loves is shoes and 90s cartoons. So all together now. I'm not gonna say Autobots, but Decepticons. They rolled out with this one with Nike, and that we talked about in the past how they did the official collaboration and the unofficial collaboration for Transformers in particular with Nike. So yeah, just shout out to Megatron. He was a beast during his time. Very underrated just because he was on the Lions team that didn't get to win but so many games, but he made Matt Stafford, and that's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Understood. And historically, Shark, I know we talked about this in the past episode, but this was monumental because how cheap Nike was, quote unquote, with them doing colorways, fonts, as we talked about in the previous episode, but never doing the full collab. This is the first time they actually put the money in and put their money where their mouth was and did a full collab, which Nike did not want to pay for. So that showed you how special Megatron was. Now, today, it looks like not that big of a deal, but this was monumental for that reason. This is the first time that I recall Nike really going all in with the licensing and everything.
Yep, and we like to slide in order acquisitions too. So I'm just going. Well, I got these random Ross pickup again. This is the Calvin Johnson. What are these? The threes, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Ashton Martin colorway. So of course I had to get that Ashton Martin colorway. All right. So just quick pickup. You never know when the flag football game is going to pop out that you need, but I'll just show you why we got that. You can see that right there, ladies and gentlemen, $17.99. That's what we do. We've been doing this, all right? So just throwing that in there. Ashton Martin, Calvin Johnson. So, you got the cleats and the shoe. So, again, it's not a PE. This is not a PE cleat. This is the signature cleat, all
There you
right?
go.
And you had the signature trainers to match. All right. So that's what we're talking about while we're having this discussion about the NFL players, what was happening in the past, because we have no idea what's happening in the future.
This
Because
year.
who's it going to be? And it doesn't even have to be offense or defense. We think about offensive players, skill players. We know that Patrick Mahomes right now has a signature with Adidas. I think that this is more a partnership with just Adidas, rather than just pushing the shoe and the apparel. You're not really going to see shelf placement of any of those shoes in a store. They're more at the. That seems like they focused on the actual. Well, they're a training shoe, so they only want to give it to Dick's Sporting Goods type stores for athletic training equipment, that type of stuff. So you're not going to see his shoe at the urban retailers for Patrick Mahomes, but
Mhm.
you would see Deion Sanders. You
There
would
you go.
see all of the Barry Sanders. You would see some Megatrons. You'll see some Michael Vick. So that's what we're talking about in having this discussion. But, just one more signature shoe, because I talked about offensive skill players, but another skill player, because we was always looking for the heir apparent, the next Deion Sanders. Not to say that he had the flair off the field, but for a couple of years, Revis Island existed, and
What's the
some of
thing?
even Megatron and plenty other Hall of Fame receivers got locked down and stranded on Revis Island. All right, so Darrell Revis had a shoe. All right, you want to know a story arc? Anyone familiar with John Geiger? All right, well, guess what? He started by working with, and because Revis was his friend, and they were doing colorway collaborations. He got to have say so, and some of his relationships started with Nike, sitting at the table with Darrell Revis on shoe designs and colorway. All right, and then misplaced checks, and story goes on from there. But without Darrell Revis, the
Mm,
story arc for John Geiger, I don't know if that really exists.
dude.
Just saying, we're versed over here. That's clear. That's clarity over popularity right there.
Facts.
So this was a colorway where I had a couple of these too. All right. These couple of these made it to the Ross circuit as well. But I love a good camo. All right. So we had the nice, brown leather sitting on top of the camo, the Revis. Look at the shoes. These were extremely comfortable.
Mm,
Extremely comfortable. Like, I know the first pair I went and got you see the 24 over here. I had the Jets colorway to start off with, and I ran them things into the ground. You know what I'm saying? They turned into beaters real quick because they were so comfortable. Those are the shoes you wear to the gym and afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to wear something comfortable all the way. So I saved this one for the stash. But Darrell Revis, all right. So I don't know if we'll have another Dion now that Dion is Coach Prime over in Colorado. He's brought back some of the, at least the DT Maxes. They sold out really quick, but it looks like they're going to be bringing out more colorways in the fall coming up for the new college football season. You're going to see some more, colorways associated with Colorado hitting stores. But I want to see more. I don't want to see just one color. I want to see more. And the question we have for our audience is, who's next? You got some really talented guys, but you know, who gets the signature? You got like Justin Jefferson, because it's like,
mm.
who is it going to be? And he's got the swag. He's with Under Armour. He's had some PE stuff, but is he worthy of the signature? Who is it? He's up in Minnesota
There you
with
go.
it, and he's a young dude doing his thing in Minnesota. I want to see, at the very least, can we redo the Kevin Garnett and Randy Moss photo shoot, you know what I'm saying, and just do Ant-Man and Justin Jefferson. I'm just saying for nostalgia's sake, can we redo that? But who do you think, OG? You know, is there any young talent that's standing out? I don't even know what position is marketable the way that it used to be with us. You know what I mean? So
That's
what do you think?
true because I think in our day it was so diverse and um, gosh, um, everything now is so offensive driven. You know what I mean? So um, I'm thinking of even a Jamar Chase, who I really, really like as far as someone who was young, consistent.
He has PE. He has like 2 PE cleats
Mhm,
for
mhm.
Nike. Mm-hmm.
And maybe um, I'm not saying he fumbled the bag totally, but with injuries and everything, and then with the trade, um, you know, maybe there is a little bit of residue of the O not staying in New York and injuries and how things went. And I think he's going to Miami now, so there's still so he says there's still some gas left in the tank, but with Beckham. But I'm thinking of just some young cats that are talented um, on a defensive end, but no one really marketed themselves without needing the machine the way a Deion Sanders did, and no one had the mystique of a Barry Sanders now to where we mentioned in a previous episode about how KD can be with some things, but he was cool being him because how Nike somehow will cater to his commercials or his advertising. And there was a mystique with Barry Sanders outside of his performance that was like you just had to kind of get his shoe because you wanted to be like Barry and how he performed. And they kind of teetered with him not doing commercials but still wearing the shoe, not having so I don't see anybody like that right now because unlike back in our day, Shark, I really feel like it was some consistency with guys, and now with contracts, it's always been injuries. But getting a guy outside the quarterback position that's going to play and be consistent for a good 5, 6, 7 year run, it's tough right now. Shark, outside at the quarterback position and the running back position right now is just defunct the way the league has treated running back. So um, from a marketability standpoint, outside of quarterback, I'm looking at a Jamar Chase, but the way the Bengals are going, he may not be a Bengal the next 2, 3 years from now. You know what I mean? So the Calvin Johnson era, I'm looking for that to come back. But I can't think of anyone that's coming to mind that's a young 24, 25, got a few years in the league that say, hey, that's that guy. I'm a fan of a few people, but no one comes to me, Shark, in the NFL that's that guy yet on the offensive side or defensive side outside of a bunch of quarterbacks. If they get all of the praise, they get the commercials, they get, you know what I mean? So it's what it is. But hopefully
Yeah,
sometime.
I mean, you said it. The quarterbacks, you know, Nike. You've had one or two uh um PE dunks or whatever with Kyler Murray, but you know, is that really selling? You know,
There you
and
go.
Nike, you've just done like a special T-shirt for a couple guys, and then that's it. Like you do a Travis Kelsey T-shirt, like he can't even can't. You mean Travis Kelsey can't even get a PE
There you go.
shooter release?
There you
You
go.
know, like nothing. And especially when he was, you know, before Taylor Swift, whatever. Like he was more swaggy. You know what I'm saying? So like, I understand you got a champion on your roster. Like, why don't you? I don't understand why you didn't do that. You know, I talk about Kyler Murray. You know, a couple other people, but let's just go back real quick with the nostalgia. You know, with some of these commercials, like just being associated or affiliated. Like I can just remember like Derek Thomas, Reebok. Ooh, I just know all automatically, you know. And the gritty style commercials that they had, basketball and football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The Emmitt Smiths. You know, and those type of things, you still had performance on the field. But when you go back to the Nikes and you mentioned Junior Seau,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just, you know, it's not like he was speaking in any of the commercials. What was this, Dennis Hopper, where he was the referee, like the crazy referee for Christmas, and then ooh, I got the Dion, ooh, and he's blowing the whistle, and then he's running in the sand, and it's him like he's training, and he's just a deranged fan. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things just spark up the nostalgia. And I'll just think about like that type of arc. And that's why I mentioned someone like Justin Jefferson who has swag on and off the field. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to grab a Sauce Gardner, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, but the fact that I can't even tell you who Sauce Gardner is even affiliate, brand he wears. I can't even tell you that off the top of my head. So like brands, like you got the NFL won't allow. They don't like the individualism. The shield is always bigger. So
Mm-hmm.
someone's going to have to transcend. Even back in the day, friend of a family. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Buddy, Antonio Freeman used to, for the Green Bay Packers. Him and Robert Brooks had a Foot Action exclusive. I remember the commercial where it was just them, someone was just throwing random things and they would go catch it. Like he would catch an arrow and then he
I remember that.
caught a discus or a golf ball or whatever, and then they had the cutouts in the store. You know what I'm saying? So I
It
just
reminded
remember
me more of a
those type of
vignette.
things.
Yep. It reminded me more of a WWE. It reminded me of the Mr. Perfect vignettes that WWF used to do. Like it was on that line. I'm like, if you didn't know him, you knew him after that commercial. You know what I mean? And that's what it was
Yeah,
all about.
and I mentioned that because when you go a story arc, I remember a similar thing, but it was Michael Vick. It wasn't the Nike, but it was the Powerade commercial, and that was one of the first, like,
Yep.
is it real or is it fake era, you know what I'm saying? Where a couple of these commercials, and then Mike is in the stadium and he just chucks it, and then it just keeps going, and
Going.
then you're like, wait, because I kind of believe it, but
Yep.
it's just too. That's not real, and it wasn't. You see Steph Curry doing some of that stuff now too. But really, like you see where I'm going with that arc of, like you said, even if you didn't know who it was, you remember the moment. It was clever enough. So even if the person isn't available, yeah, it's hard to do running backs now because they won't allow. We went to the two back committees,
Mm.
and you had like Chris Johnson. He had the Thunder and Lightning with Lindell White, but we
Yep.
forgot it was CJ 2K.
There
Oh,
you go.
okay, and then he just barely got a PE
Mm.
out of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If Nike didn't do anything with Russell Wilson, who was the kids person, you know what I mean,
Right.
where he slapped the dangerous logo on the kids stuff. Looking at auto acquisition, I had just got some stuff from the Nike outlet not long ago too. But if they couldn't do anything with Russell Wilson at his peak when he was Super Bowl champion and couldn't really push it and he has the nice guy routine and everything.
Squeaky
He
clean.
could have. So, they could have just poured more into the kids if they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of missed the boat on that. So, quarterbacks do get a lot of credit. I don't think Kyler Murray, he's a gamer as well. So, like, I don't think that he didn't have the personality to match what the superstar and then injuries and they don't win over there in Arizona. You know what I mean? So, like, why doesn't Lamar Jackson have anything? I want to know about the Jordan Brand athletes. Like, Dak Prescott's overhyped. Don't give him anything. I'm not suggesting anything, but you have
Mm.
like Jalen Hurts. Like, is his marketability at his peak? With the Super Bowl run and coming back, because I don't know if you're gonna get that again. They got a new
Yeah.
squad and a lot of new talent. They got one more Super Bowl run in them, but are you gonna capitalize on all those moments again?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Jordan Brand, we could have got a super freak out of somebody by now.
Woo!
You know what I mean? And
Wow. How did I forget the super freak? Oh my
if
gosh.
it's not a quarterback, then who's the receiver? That's why I was looking at Justin Jefferson and Under Armour. Under Armour, you had Cam Newton, you had his signatures, and that was okay in the first rounds. You know what I mean? And then Cam, his career, but he was always you knew he was Under Armour. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It was more
Yep.
PEs than signature releases because it was a high top training shoe, and it just you didn't have the variations to really get in and out of it. But it was still a comfortable shoe. The Micro G's was good cushioning system at that time. So someone that stands to mind if we're talking about a young quarterback and has the opportunity to win and has the opportunity to, he's already shown his personality in the offseason. C.J. Stroud. All
Yeah.
right.
No question.
That's the guy. That's the young buck. If you messed up Russell Wilson, you better not mess this guy up because he got the talent. And now after one more year, he's got the arsenal of assets from receivers to running backs. He's got everybody, and they're going to win. They're going to be chucking it. I bet you there's going to be more Houston Texans games on TV coming
Definitely.
up next season. All right. So, he's someone that stands out to me. But you mentioned Jamar Chase as another top receiver. I just don't see the personality though. Crossing over. And again, Nike, you already have some PEs with him. Like I feel like Lamar Jackson was the guy that could have done it, but you already missed the window.
There
I
you go.
feel like on him. We talked about OBJ.
Hmm.
I think his personality. He it just stayed in New York. You know what I mean? Because the marketability fell in Cleveland. He didn't play a primary role when he was in LA, but still won a chip. So now, he's just a piece over in Miami. You had Tyreek Hill. If nobody did nothing, he's what, Nike again too? Nothing. No PE for the cheetah. Nothing.
Literally, you say cheetah, and people know who you're referring to.
Come on.
That
He
cheetah,
should have the cheetah. Why? At the very least, he should have some apparel collection or something.
definitely.
Like, like, get behind somebody to actually, promote something over there. So we could, talk all day about what athletes, but the fact is, audience, check us out. Instagram at Soul Material. Leave some comments here. Who do you think should be the next guy? Is there a next guy? Who's out there that really? Because I can't name any other. Does Micah Parsons is that going to be? Is he worth a signature? Like who's another defensive player? That has personality that really. I meant J.J. Watt. He had a good deal with
Reebok.
Reebok, and that line went on for a little bit. There was a little Iverson inspirations going on with some of the colorways. So I know it's Reebok, but I'm saying he had a signature shoe and it worked, and he was good for what they did because in their CrossFit era, that's around the time when he was doing that. So that was a good shoe for CrossFit as well for what they did. So I just don't know of anybody that's here ready right now to cement it outside of a Justin Jefferson or a CJ Stroud.
Well, given that the draft just ended, maybe there's someone that's going to blow our minds in this 2024 NFL draft that we are not expecting. There is a wide receiver that got drafted by Buffalo who already displayed a certain character and a certain charisma from his first press conference. So I got my eye on that kid from Florida State, and
He's gonna
maybe
have a lot of opportunity with
there, there
with
you
the
go.
top two receivers gone.
There you go. So, who knows? Maybe next year we'll talking about again. It's what we do. We kind of try to just do a prelude, not necessarily predict some things, but just open up that window just to ask the questions and just think. And it may be he was at the bottom of the first round. So after all those quarterbacks and everyone else goes, it may be a surprise in this 2024 NFL draft. But he's shown some characteristics definitely off the break, just being him. He wasn't trained up and so forth. So we'll see. But Shark, I'm with you 1,000%. But again, one of my sayings, what a time to be alive during the 90s, during that Zoom air football time. And again, it was cool that guys that have their signature shoe, but you knew it was their shoe because of the commercial or the moment or the advertisement, and the streets will call that shoe by the athlete's name, man. And that's just what it was. I'm looking forward to possibly that happening again sometime soon because opportunity is there. I think that it's easier now than it was then, given accessibility, social media, and so forth. For some reason, man, I don't see that being as important or prevalent as it once was. And the NFL, like you said, key thing is the shield, but some personalities got to come out because there is a market there for these cross training type of shoes like it was in the 90s. And NFL will always have talent.
Yep.
Nike's got to step up because they got an archive of history, man, that showed greatness, and they can do that again. I'm looking forward to that happening again.
Gotcha. All right. And then before we wrap up, I'm actually Gonna squeeze in a little nugget for our viewers and our listeners. All right, this is like your Avengers end credits where you thanks for sticking around for this 30-minute episode. And if you made it this far, well, I got a surprise for you. All right, so we love a good show and tell. And I was very surprised at this that I did the backdoor on the Nike site that I told you about. Save stuff to your wish list. Check on it later. I don't care if it's been gone for over a year. Keep checking. You never know when the sizes pop back up. And my size popped back up. And it added to cart and they delivered it. All right. So what do I have here? Thanks for sticking around. We have the Air Max 90 EA Sports collaboration
It's
and
in the
released
game.
over a year ago. This is the Madden. All right. Play like mad. All right. Play like Madden. EA Sports is in the game. All right.
Indeed.
Got the NFL logo. We got the football leather. Ooh, look at that. The football leather on top of the regular smooth leather, too. Oh, man. And the white laces like the football laces. You see that? You see the texture on the laces? Like,
For the old school heads, remember
look
the
at that. Yeah, there you go.
Super
You see
Bowl Air
that with the
Force Ones.
three-part with the stitches on stitches on stitches? There you go. All right. On the inside, Air Max with the gold on the back. You know what I'm saying? Air Max 90. Look at that. Details. So we just had to squeeze in a little show and tell. Thank you guys for listening to the full episode. So now just give you some more incentives because you never know when we drop a little nugget post credit, at the end. So just want to throw that in there before we go since we were talking about the NFL. And again, NFL, that shield, you already know, red, white, and blue. But EA Sports, it's in the game. All right? So thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Soul Material Podcast you cheer for, the channel you cheer for, giving you that sneaker business talk, and of course, clarity over popularity. All right, so till next time, friends, it's T-Mark the Street Shark signing off.
And your man at OGEO. Until next time, peace to you.
Sneaker business talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.